Way back at the end of the great silent period, the Oscars in their first year began by nominating Charlie Chaplin for his performance in The Circus, but he didn't win. So instead, the Academy gave him a special award for his, quote, versatility and genius in writing, acting, directing, and producing The Circus. Chaplin was nominated again over the years, but never won a competitive Oscar. In that first year, explaining the difficulties of choosing winners, William DeMille put it very well when he said, "It's a bit like asking, does this man play checkers better than that man plays chess?" With this in mind, perhaps, special Oscars often have been handed out to compensate for oversights of various kinds, or sometimes people have won Oscars one year because they were passed by a year or two before. A number of the most legendary names in pictures never received competitive awards.
I didn't know that rich men ever looked like that.
Names like Greta Garbo, who was nominated 3 times for Anna Christie in 1930 and again for her 2 best films, George Cukor's Camille in 1937 and Ernst Lubitsch's Ninotchka in 1939. She didn't win each time, but in 1954, 13 years after her last film, the Academy voted her a special award for, quote, her unforgettable screen performances. She did not appear on TV to accept. Cary Grant never won an Oscar either, though he was nominated twice for dramatic performances, never for a comedy. For George Stevens' Penny Serenade and for this film, Clifford Odets' None But the Lonely Heart.
Let me, son. Disgraced you.
Disgrace me, Ma. No, Ma. No, disgrace me, Ma. This is your son, Ernie Mott. The boy who needs you, loves you, wants you.
And writer Peter Stone, accepting a Best Screenplay Oscar for a Grant movie called Father Goose, said, "I want to thank Cary Grant, who keeps winning these for other people." Grant was finally given a special Oscar in 1969, 3 years after his last film, for, quote, his unique mastery of the art of screen acting. I asked Cary once about the awards, and he said he'd preferred the ceremonies before they were broadcast, when a bunch of picture people had dinner together at the old Coconut Grove, and, he said, everybody got a little tight, and then we'd say, all right now, Freddie March, we all know you make $1 million a picture. Why don't you come up here and get your little award?
Oh, please, let me see her face when he kisses her, please.
Barbara Stanwyck, not only one of our brightest stars, but among America's finest actresses, was nominated 4 times, but she never won. Her amazing versatility is vividly apparent as she played a devoted, long-suffering mother in King Vidor's Stella Dallas, a nightclub performer, Gangster's Mall, in Howard Hawks' comedy Ball of Fire,
Hear the rhythm romping.
and, complete with blonde hair, the hard-boiled murderess in Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity. Happily, in 1982, 34 years after her last nomination, Barbara Stanwyck was given a special Academy Award for her life's work, presented to her by an admiring John Travolta.
I don't care what they think. Godfrey's going to be our butler.
If it's true the Academy has been known at times to have a prejudice against comedies, it's not so surprising, perhaps, that Carole Lombard never got an Oscar and was only nominated once for Gregory LaCava's My Man Godfrey, as were William Powell, Misha Auer, and Alice Brady from that same delightful picture. But the Academy also has often shown a blind spot for the love goddesses of the screen.
What am I paid for my apple?
Marlene Dietrich never won an Oscar, though she was nominated once for her first American film, Joseph von Sternberg's exotic classic, Morocco. And the glorious Ava Gardner was only nominated once, in 1953, and didn't win, for her amazingly modern, supple performance in John Ford's African love story, Mogambo, with Clark Gable and Grace Kelly.
If a body kiss a body, need a body cry. Da 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 da.
Perhaps the oddest Oscar winner-loser story is the one about Louise Rayner. In 1936, when Carole Lombard was nominated, Miss Rayner won for The Great Ziegfeld. And the following year, when Irene Dunne, Greta Garbo, and Barbara Stanwyck were nominated, Louise Rayner won again for The Good Earth. And then, for seemingly inexplicable reasons, she made only one more film. This may be an odd consolation for the losers tonight, but finally, perhaps there are no losers, really. Even a nomination from your peers is high praise, and in the long run, it is the work itself, not the awards for it, that count. And as always, of course, time is the final judge and jury.